Going into Pearl, I wasn't sure what to expect. Were you? Did you expect another slasher on the level of X? Or did you expect something different? For me, I didn't expect the bright colors that I did get. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I am accompanied by my wife Jen, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, we are talking about Pearl, an extraordinary origin story. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
This is Brian O'Halloran, and you're watching the Popcorn Confessional on the Nerdbox. Sounds like a porn site.
Pearl, the old woman from Ty West's X, returns in her own prequel where we learn what led up to her becoming a killer with her husband Howard. Set during 1918, Pearl lives on the farm with her parents to help take care of her father, who is suffering with the side effects of influenza. All Pearl wants in life is to escape the farm and become a star. Only as things don't go as expected, she begins to slowly unravel and succumbs to an urge to kill.
Oddly enough, this film started out and felt like an old Disney film with an oppressed woman whose only friends are animals. Maybe it was just me, or maybe it's just hard to explain, but this film uses a lot of bright cartoony colors, almost like makeup, to hide the disturbing and dark urges that plague Pearl. The movie is good, but it takes a while to get to it, and it leaves you wanting more of what you got in the end. As I mentioned, the bright colors in the movie, and for those that see this after this review or have seen it and are watching our review, kind of reminded me of Snow White a little bit. There was a little song, there was a little dance.
Reminded me of The Sound of Music.
I could see that too. There is a lot of storytelling in this movie, which I was not expecting and was not prepared for. So I went into this maybe expecting to see a little bit more horror elements, a little bit more of Pearl being psycho. Did not get that until the very end of the film.
Yeah, I wasn't even excited about seeing it. It just really didn't grab me even in the trailer for it. I also think that it was way too rushed. It was announced literally right after X came out.
Well, it was filmed back to back with it.
Yeah, I think they rushed into that. I think they should have given it more thought. That's just one person's opinion. I just think there should have been more thought put into it. When I go in to see... So I saw X. I mean, that was like a slasher film. There was a lot of blood going, being spilled and killing. And then I go to see this movie, which is the prequel, and I'm thinking, great, we're really going to see like her backstory and how this all started. But really all we saw was her story. Mm-hmm. We didn't get the horror aspect of it until the very end. And it didn't exactly explain everything either. Because as you know, if you've seen X, if you haven't, then you shouldn't be watching this review. But in X, we know that she is killing with her husband. Mm-hmm. But that does not get explained in this, and now the next movie that comes out is a sequel to X. So we're still without information.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that coming into this review too. It's like, you leave wanting more of what you got at the end, right?
Yes.
Now, there's quite possibly a fourth movie that they could make now, because I would be interested in seeing what you just exactly
Because I almost feel like if there's a fourth movie, it would have to be like Pearl and Howard's story, right? Mm-hmm. Because in X, we got the end of kind of their story. And then in Pearl, we got the beginning of Pearl's story, but not Howard. Mm-hmm. So I really feel like they have to do a fourth one now. And I feel like it has to be Pearl and Howard's story. Why did he just decide to be like, all right, yeah, like I was in the army, but now I'm going to be a serial killer with my wife? Mm-hmm. Why? That was not explained.
Yeah, that is the story that I was kind of expecting to see more coming into this one. So that's probably why I was like, I'm a little taken back by this. Mm-hmm. Now, Goths Acting in this was very good. It stood out a lot more than in X itself, where Jenn and a few of the other actors stood out a little bit more. Here, she did a very good job of balancing the struggles that she's dealing with, staying home at the farm, and having that need to escape. And there's a couple of things that we learn towards the end of the film that kind of really starts to shine a light on some things. And there's a long monologue in it, which is done by her, which is very, very good.
I will have to agree to disagree. I think that Mia Goth's acting was way over the top. I've, in some aspect or another, dealt with people who were mentally ill my entire life, including people who have paranoid schizophrenia, and she was way over the top. She just was. And it was so over the top, it was laughable. I don't really care for Mia Goth as an actor. I just don't. I didn't care for her in X. Jenna Ortega was great. I thought Brittany Snow was really good too.
Wow, you don't like Brittany Snow.
And I don't. But I really don't like Mia Goth. Maybe she's for other people, but she's not for me.
Now, also, I don't know if this happens to anybody that's watching, but typically what happens for me is if I'm coming into a film having seen a really good movie that's in the same genre or a series of good movies coming into it, it lessens the impact for this movie. So coming into this was Barbarian and Clerks 3, which are both outstanding films. And then you come into Pearl, and it's just like, oh, I just come out of these really good ones. A lot of people are talking this up. Maybe it can be on that level. I didn't expect it to be, but then that kind of hurt it a little bit.
And especially when you have Barbarian, which is also a horror movie. Obviously, Clerks 3 is not. It's more of a dramedy, which that's what you expect. But Barbarian is a horror movie. Definitely heads above this one, in my opinion. It's just, yeah.
I think we said it in the last video. The bar is set. Or we have said it outside of the review where it's like the bar is set right now for anything that comes out during the spooky season and during the Halloween season, where you have Barbarian and now you have to hit that level because the Barbarian was so good.
And it's like I've said in the past too. When I see A24 attached to a movie, it's always either hit or miss. There is no happy medium. There just is not. It's either hit or miss. I think X was a hit. This was a miss for me.
Yeah. Essentially, you have your backstory for anybody that's interested in the character. You can go and learn about the character. Maxine is the third part in the trilogy, which was just announced. They also show that after the credits for this. And I'm looking forward to it, so Pearl did not influence me to say, Maxine, no, I don't want to watch another one. But again, I'm just going to come back to it one last time, is I left the movie wanting more, so maybe that's a good thing, right? I wanted to see more story about Howard and Pearl's life. So that's what I want to see.
I mean, maybe they did what they wanted to do. Maybe they wanted you to be like, all right, so what actually happened, and now we need another film. Bravo, if that's exactly what they did, because I want to see now something after Maxine. And I do want to see Maxine, because this doesn't completely kill it for me, because I liked X, and I feel like they can still redeem themselves. I'm looking forward to Maxine, and I'm really hoping that there is going to be a fourth one, just so that I can see if there's any, more story behind Pearl and Howard together as a killing couple. So, I mean, bravo. They probably did what they set out to do. I just wish they had done it a little differently.
Yeah. Condense the story a little bit in this one and give us a little bit more violence and everything else. Yeah. Or don't release it during the Halloween season.
That too. Yeah. Probably could have done a little of both. Like, maybe don't release during the Halloween season and then give us a little more of the blood that we expect, right? It's a horror movie. I don't expect to go in there and spend the entire first hour without killing. And that's literally what it was. The movie was not, it was only about an hour and 40 minutes, which sometimes for a horror movie that is too long, and in this case it really was. It probably could have been like an hour and 25.
Yeah, I think so.
Just because they wanted to tell so much story, they should have cut that back a little bit and just given us more of the horror from the beginning.
The best thing I can say is there was a TV series about Lizzie Borden, right? It was a TV series for a reason, because they expanded the story over multiple episodes. Yeah. Here, this kind of reminds me of Lizzie Borden. And it's just a lot of story just to get up to the climax.
Yeah. All right. It's just more story than I think you need in a horror film.
Sometimes it's good. It just
Sometimes it's good, but you have to tell it the right way.
Mhm.
And I think they missed the mark on that.
Yeah, maybe they should have did Pearl and Howard's story first, and then gone back another layer.
I think that probably would have been better, just because the way that they ended this was just a little confusing.
Yeah, Pearl's not an iconic character for me, so I don't really need to see the backstory of that.
Mm-mm.
Now, if I would have gotten Pearl and Howard this movie, then we would have picked up like at the beginning or in the middle of their killing spree.
Yeah.
Then I would have said, all right, well, what the hell's going on with Pearl? Now I've seen her in 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Give me her backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we rate this one.
I'm not going to say it's a one and done. I'd probably put it on at home, maybe if there was nothing else on. You know, if I'm doing something else, cleaning or, you know, whatever the case may be, where I don't have to pay too much attention to the story.
I am going to go with watch it again at home too. And not for the reasons of leaving it on the background. I am interested in coming back to this film at some point. Because again, going into this film, there was Clerks 3. There was Barbarian. So I now have to see this a little bit removed from any other horror movie or film that's extremely good, so that it doesn't ruin me going into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cleaning my palate for the next film. I didn't clean my palate going into this one, and I suffered the consequences for it. Anyway, it is the quest for 5,000 subscribers, so if you are not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that little button, and you can help us build up to a bigger channel. And that will help all the independent artists and filmmakers that we feature on some of our shows.
Yeah, so on top of subscribing, make sure you're liking and sharing any content that you do enjoy.
Yes, for every video that has 100 likes and 100 comments, you get a chance to win fabulous prizes.
We have a lot, so please, people, we need to unload some of this stuff.
Yes.
We're quickly filling up a bigger house.
I will say that we have 2 full-size theater posters for Beast that we'll put into the mix as well. So that is 27 by 40?
Yeah, 27 by 40.
And until the next. See ya.
See ya.